What was the biggest challenge? Was it just getting the money to do it, or?
Everything kind of fell into.
Everything kind of just fell into place.
Yeah, it was crazy. It's like sometimes I feel like, in a spiritual way, that everything was meant to be the way it was supposed to be. We had a 4-family, and it got completely burnt down. And had it not...
You owned the house?
Yes. So we had a 4-family that was a complete rental property. And
you guys were collecting rent?
Yeah.
We were, yes. And it got completely burnt down in Waltham.
How?
There was a tenant that lit a cigarette out in the deck. Yeah.
We had like a 3-season patio off the back of the house because it overlooked the Charles River, and they were out there and they had a cigarette and they thought they put it out and they didn't, and it caught the curtain on the patio and just
like right out of a movie.
And the whole house went up. Yeah.
It was like a.
Were people in the house?
No,
there were people were able to get out. Of course, all the animals didn't make it, and that was very tragic for some of the tenants. And my sister happened to be a tenant in there, my best friend. So it was probably the hardest thing because they didn't even have a pair of underwear to wear. They lost everything in that one fire, including we lost almost a ton of our stuff, and all of us.
And like your business.
Yeah, it was really tough.
Wait, so what was that like? Where were you when you got the call that your house was burning down?
I was at work.
I was at work too, and I got the phone call, and I obviously came to my cell phone. I didn't recognize the phone number, so I didn't answer it. But then when I called back, listened to my voicemail, it was an officer from Waltham telling me that the house was on fire, and then I need to call them. So I called the number back, and I thought it was a joke. It was like a few days after April Fools, or before April Fools, and they're like, no, it's not. So I had to drive from Woburn all the way back to Waltham.
And you saw your house in flames.
I got there, and I couldn't get down the street. It was a 4 or 5 alarm fire. There were 3 different fire departments there fighting it. So there was trucks everywhere.
All. They did an amazing
job. And none of them got hurt, which was the first and foremost thing we asked. Were any police officers injured? Were any of the firefighters injured? No one was injured. Everyone got out of the house. But it was really hard to watch something you worked for, your whole life to buy, like burn to the ground in front of your eyes. Kind of difficult.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So, and when did you get the news?
I was at work, and then I think he called me, and I was.
Where were you working at the time?
Boston Properties, and I was actually in a meeting, and I just looked at the phone. I was like, I gotta go. But it was hard. Yes, it was sad to see the house go down, but I think what hurt the most was the people that were impacted by it, and to see everything that we were going through and had, everything went upside down for us too. Like, we were about to lose everything. Like, we didn't even have money to buy food. It was really bad because we didn't get rent, so we couldn't really, and we just.
What year is this?
Yeah,
I'm trying to think. It was 2 years before we opened, right?
Oh no, it was. I want to say.
Yeah.
2015.
16?
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe 16.
So you guys were gonna plan on opening this up earlier, but then your house burned down.
So it was more of a plan, a hopeful plan, but it wasn't. We never had the money at that time.
Right. So that was the biggest thing. The biggest challenge was we had thought about opening it before that, but we were trying to save money from, the positive from the rent and the mortgage to open the business. And then when that went down, it's like, okay, great. What do we do now? What do we do now? We have no extra income, and we're still going to have to pay a mortgage on a property that isn't giving us income. So what are we going to do for cash flow? Yeah. So basically, you go back negative. You're not even at square one. You're below square one because now you're in the red. You have no cash flow. So how do you reset and build everything back up again?
Oh, I had no idea. So, did you guys, after all of the hoopla of the house burning down had kind of subsided, did you guys sit down and were like, listen, we have to still open the business. We have to figure out a way to do this.
I think we both kind of had different reasons or drives that told us to keep hanging on and keep going.
Yeah.
What was that?
I mean, for me, it was always my father and my sister. It was always, and people, really. Like, I just wanted to make sure I did this for them. Like, it was always something that I just told myself, no matter what, something's going to open.
Yeah, it didn't.
Go ahead.
It didn't stop us from wanting to open in the business. It just kind of pushed it back, obviously. And the biggest thing for us is like, well, what are we going to do, with the property, like the house? Like, that was the money that we were supposed to use to start the business. So we flirted with like a couple different ideas with the property, and what we were going to do is we were going to condo them and sell them and then take the money from that and open the business. It wanted too much to put us out, cash flow wise. We just wound up selling the property and then taking that money and opening the business. So the business plan never left. It was just like, okay, now we have a huge obstacle of how we were saving money to open the business.
And also it's like a mindset thing too. It's
Yeah.
like you're so focused on being productive and getting stuff done. It's like, wait, nope, stiff arm, your whole life has to stop.
Yeah, everything that you just worked for kind of went up in flames in front of you. And then like Audrey said, then you have family members and friends that are impacted. So then you're trying to help them settle their lives and get their lives straight. So everything just kind of got pushed back.
When you're battling insurance for months on end, they're telling you you're not going to get any money for anything, and you just don't know where you're going to end up. So it was like 6 months of not knowing if we were just going to get nothing or if we were going to get any relief,
Now, I hate when people say this in hindsight, when they're like, you know what, your obstacles will make you tougher. I hate when people say it because it's like, shut up, But in hindsight, are you guys like, all right, we already went through that, so we can easily open a business now?
Yeah, I think, go ahead. I think absolutely. I mean, for me, I had another thing I had to deal with. 2 days after the house burned down, my mother passed away. So I had to deal with the house and then losing my mother. And in hindsight, you can say stuff makes you tougher and makes you realize that you can do things 100% right.
Present